Hey guys, Varian Finley here. Social media. I have one major issue with it, and that's the whole social justice warriors autistic screeching. Yeah, that's a huge issue. And the reason why I bring it up is autism isn't a joke, and a lot of people that say this about social justice warriors have no idea about. They're very ignorant. They've never had to live with it. They've never had to live with a family member with it. They've never had to tolerate a friend with it. They have no idea how stressful it is, not only for the person suffering it, but for the entire community around them. So, just because someone is behaving inappropriately and is screaming doesn't make them autistic. It basically means that they're a spoiled child who never got the strap as a kid. That's basically all the whole social justice warrior, social media, autistic screeching is someone who needs a belt across their backside. Because there's a lot of stigma to do with autism, and you guys are not helping. How are we supposed to help others with this condition? And how are we supposed to make it more easier for those to get treatment when people are relaying that we are that retarded? A lot of people with autism are high functioning, and you can't even tell they have it unless you actually know what to look for. There's all these people on the internet who look at this kind of behavior from people who have no discipline, who were never taught that their behavior was wrong, being diagnosed as autism by someone who doesn't even have a PhD. And even psychiatrists can't diagnose someone with autism unless they specialize in the field. I should know. And the reason why I know is I've been seeing a psychiatrist to get something else diagnosed, and I've gone, by the way, I need a full reassessment. And he's turned around and said, well, we need to get in a specialist for that. A specialist psychiatrist. And of course I've gone, oh, great. By the way, I've asked for this last year, and you're only just getting the fact that every time I walk in here it's me, I need this. Alright? Autism is something you're born with. You can be taught to work with it, work around it. You're gonna have your bad days where it's just gonna overwhelm you. But at the core of the matter is this is something that we cannot help. We can't help being different. And that's really all that autism is it's a neurological difference. Alright, we neurologically did not develop in the same way as everyone else. If you sit down and talk with someone who's autistic, you will find that they are smart as a button. They really are. We are. We are so intellectual. We have a lot of weaknesses, but we also have a lot of strengths. Our weaknesses is social interaction and communications. That's hands down our biggest problems. But you get us on a subject that we're interested in, and we are absolute geniuses. So, please stop being ignorant. Please. We have enough stigma as it is without having this attached to us. Because a lot of, as I just said, a lot of people who, you just type it into YouTube, autistic screeching, and you have a lot of people who aren't even autistic having emotional meltdowns because they don't understand how to deal with their emotions, because despite being a perfectly functional atypical mind, they were extremely sheltered and don't know how to deal with the situation, versus someone who isn't that sheltered and have to deal with a neurological disorder. Alright? So, can we please just stop? It's really heartbreaking. It's disheartening. I just looked through YouTube's recommendations for typing in autistic screeching, and it's a lot of people who are normal making fun of people that struggle their entire life. And it's very hurtful. And it's also very harmful because it's a disorder that you just don't understand. So that's basically what this little rant is about, and it's not much of a rant because it's really upsetting to see that. Sure, we get our words wrong, sure, we chuck hissy fits, but it's usually because something happens and it's warranted. You know, the whole autistic happy flapping thing, we don't all do that. Come on. There are very, 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 very few autistic people I know, and I know a lot of people who have the autistic spectrum, that do the whole happy flapping thing. And these are people who are so extreme on the spectrum that, I'm sorry, people that have that level of autism, I feel for you. I feel for your families because you're in full-time care. It's really hard on you. It's really hard on your families to be of that level. It's a full-time job looking after someone who is disabled to the point where they need full-time care. Any carer will tell you how hard it is to care for someone who's unable to care for themselves. And to be caring for someone who's unable to communicate, that's even harder, more so. So, yeah, can we please just not do it? Because it's adding to the stigma. It's detracting from the seriousness of the condition, because it really is a serious condition. It's not life-threatening, but it's not easy to live with. It's not easy to live with those that have it. And a lot of that's to do with communications. So, yeah. Not helping. You're really not helping. And like I said, there are a lot of people that have the spectrum, that are on the spectrum, that live perfect, functional, normal lives, that don't need carers, that even though when we get excited, our emotions are more exaggerated, and when we get onto a topic we love, it's very hard to get us off onto another subject. You know, the whole derailing thing. We have those issues, but they're not that hard to deal with, especially when you know how to deal with it. But seriously, can we please just not? I know I'm repeating myself, but it's worth repeating. Spoiled brats crying for safe spaces does not equal autism. Alright? Most autistic people I know understand that their safe space is at home, not in whatever public environment or institution they're at. Alright? If you want a safe space, go home. Plain and simple. If you want to get out of your comfort zone, go outside. That's how it works for us. That's how it works for everyone else in the world. We're not that dissimilar. It depends on the age of the person, their maturity, their ability to adapt to society, and a lot of people with Asperger's and autism are more than capable of adapting to day-to-day society than what you actually think we can. Alright, if I blow my lid and have a hissy fit, there's a big chance that 10 out of 10 times there's a logical, reasonable explanation as to why, and it's not me not getting my own way, like a spoiled brat. Most of the time it's I've been trying to say something and I can't get it out and it's frustrating me, so I get agitated and annoyed. Or, my best friend died. That sort of stuff warrants that kind of behavior and reaction. And most people with autism understand that. We get that. We are taught appropriation from a very young age. We're taught what society expects us from a very young age. We're a lot more socially adept and skilled than most people take us for. And the reason for that is, especially those with a very early diagnosis and get interventional treatment, they're the ones that are able to handle a situation better than most because they've had the training for it. Now, I admit I've had a bit of a sheltered life, but my life hasn't been that sheltered where I have to go to a rally, sit down and have a cry and a screech because the person that I didn't vote for got into Parliament. That's a stupid reason. And the next thing is, people with autism, we're gullible, but we're not that gullible. Like I said earlier, we're not stupid. So we're gullible enough to be led astray and to believe things like pay gap and all that bullshit. But at the same time, if we're given a very reasonable, valid argument against that, and the ability to research, because research is not my strong point, though I know other people on the spectrum who are amazing at research. We have a tendency to gravitate towards each other, which means that my weaknesses are balanced out by someone else's strengths, and vice versa. And we come together. And through information sharing, we actually correct each other. So you end up with a group of highly educated, highly intelligent people who just plain don't get the whole, why do I have to people today? Who end up with a sink full of dishes that aren't getting washed because playing video games is more important to us. That's the level we're working with here. And for someone to be that extremely autistic that they're chucking a hissy fit in the middle of public over something small and trivial that's beyond their control, as if a 5-year-old would, they usually have a carer on hand that's trying to handle the situation and wouldn't be filming it. They'd be trying to calm the person and get them into an environment that's more controlled to comfort and bring that person back to where they should be. And those that are in these videos, I'm sad to say it, but they are just spoilt brats that need to boot up their ass. So before you misdiagnose someone with it, before you imitate the autistic screeching with their and crabwalk, how about you put yourself in the position of someone who is physically enabled to communicate verbally, someone who is enabled to empathize with another, someone whose brain is dysfunctional to society's standards, and try and figure out, if I wasn't able to process this information, how would I feel? And while you're there, go, if I had this condition and had to see another person mocking my condition, how would I feel? And this is how I feel about watching these videos and having this all over Facebook and other media. You know, you don't go around pretending to be manic depressive. You don't go around pretending to be schizophrenic. Why are you doing it with autism? That's the biggest question here, is if it's not good enough to do this with other mental disabilities and conditions and disorders, what makes you think it's acceptable to do it with autism? It's morally wrong, it's ethically wrong, and you should be ashamed of yourself. Because you may not realize this, but this is what bullying looks like. It's passive aggressive, and it's just plain fucking ignorant. So come on, give us a break. Just give us a break. We have enough stigma as it is. We don't need this adding to it. So that's my feeling on the whole social justice warrior autistic screeching bullshit that's going on. Over and out from Furry and Finley.